Poor drainage, downfall, and trampling are three major problems that our trails are facing today. Downfall can cause timber blocking trails and poses a threat to any wildlife that occupies it. Trampling causes the trails to erode over time, as well as results in a change in species diversity, and poor drainage can completely wash out trails. Some important solutions to these problems are to implement proper drainage pipes, encourage visitors to stay clear of areas of the trail that are currently affected by water, regularly groom trails and areas of high recreational use, perform an inspection of trees looking for weak, dead, or diseased trees, and provide educational signage that warns visitors to look out for fallen trees or debris. It also encourages visitors to stay on the trails at all times and try to implement trails in areas that do not have as much vegetation. Here we can see the implications of poor drainage systems. Because of the bluff landscape, proper drainage can be a problem, as it can cause the buildup of water on trails located at the bottom of hills, as well as soil displacement and compaction. I sat down with current ESS Professor Ross Needham to discuss his involvement with the local trails systems and what he thinks are the biggest takeaways.
My involvement with the local trails is twofold. One, for me personally, I use them. I do some road races and do some running and to stay in shape, but also to compete. Yeah, and so I'll use the trails, whether they're in Hickson Forest, to do those, or the Great River trails. I'll do some running on those. I've also used them to bike myself, back and forth to work. But I would say most of what I use the trails for is with my kids. We'll go up into Hickson Forest, which I already mentioned, being able to take them up there to do some hiking and things like that. I would say one of the things that keeps me from using our trail system here in our area is just accessibility. Where I live in Holman, it takes me it's about 2 miles before I can get onto one of the trails or be at one of the trailheads, and so just getting there, and especially if I have my kids with me, if we're going on a bike ride, we have to navigate some kind of treacherous roads to get there, and so with just a lot of car action, so just getting to the trailhead, once we're on it, it's great, but just getting there. Just making sure that I go along the Great River Trail along the river, and there's a lot of trees that go over the top, and there'll be branches or sometimes logs that sit on there for a while, and so if you're trying to get somewhere pretty quick with your bike, not having to go around them and things like that. And I know it's really hard up in Hickson Forest to make sure that the trails are accessible, especially in the spring when we get a lot of rain and the thaw and stuff like that, but there are certain times where those are closed, and so just being able to access those.
I also interviewed UWL student Abby as she was walking through the marsh on the trails to talk about possible deterrents of using local trail system and also benefits of using the trails.
Being a student at UWL, I'm always looking for ways to get outside and explore lacrosse, and the trail system is a great way to do that. A lot of times I use it with my friends. We go rollerblading, otherwise hiking. Just a great way to be active and stay in touch with your friends and hang out with them. Sometimes it can be a little hard to use the trails after a lot of rain. They tend to be flooded, which is tough, especially if you're trying to like rollerblade or something like that. Can't really get around the water. And then when you're using the hiking trails, it can be challenging with like the erosion, and just there are spots where the trail might be like washed out, which is super challenging to do.
One of the best ways to engage in this issue is to volunteer to help land managers out at your local parks. Volunteer.gov is a great way to get in contact with government agencies who manage and protect the lands. As a public land user, you can help out by simply notifying land managers of areas that need assistance. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to reach out to your city or county's recreation department or your state's DNR. Also, the USDA Forest Service provides a plethora of contacts and resources. Thank you for watching.